And I thought it sounded kind of stupid, like a rap about Alexander Hamilton.
I was really surprised how much I liked it.
It did something completely new.
On a hip-hop album.
It was rap and hip-hop, the things I loved, mixed in with Broadway.
I think embodies hip-hop.
It is a spectacle to see, along with the music, the acting, the set.
Treasury Secretary Alexander Hamilton.
We were so enmeshed in the story and in the music.
You laugh, but it's true. All on the strength of his writing.
Original,
I think he embodies.
It was alive and fresh. It was a new perspective.
Words' ability to make a difference.
It really made me think about what America should be and could be.
It is something like you have never seen, probably ever, and I love it. So happy to have been a part of it in a very tiny way.
As you can see from my family, Hamilton left its mark unlike many pieces of art. This masterpiece that Manuel Miranda created was something so original, so risky, and just so damn revolutionary that it decided to burrow its way not just into the mind of theater goers, but also into the minds of what seemed like every demographic across America, cementing a legacy larger than life. Hamilton was not just another musical. It was a cultural event that brought millions together and shifted the theater industry in a drastic manner. This show left Broadway in a state of change that is still happening today, and left the public with an intense feeling of satisfaction, something that Hamilton himself could never obtain. But this was all after the show hit the mainstream. In January of 2015, most people only knew Alexander Hamilton from the $10 bill and probably didn't even know who Aaron Burr was. But oh boy, that was about to change. By the time Hamilton moved out of the cozy intimacy of the public theater, it had already made an impact on a level that goes much deeper than performance.
It represents acclaim, awards, and opportunities for actors of color. It hasn't been perfect in speaking to these issues, but there are important conversations still happening in the world of theater that may not have played out in the way they did if not for Hamilton.
The color-conscious casting of Hamilton made headlines before the show was even out. The audition notice stated that the musical was looking for a lot of non-white men or women. This led to a hailstorm of controversy regarding the wording of this notice and the idea of white people feeling left out. Imagine that. Although I would wholeheartedly disagree with these viewpoints, the conversation that was generated started to shine a light on the bigger problem at hand, the representation of minorities on Broadway. Before Hamilton, in the mid-2000s to early 2010s, minority actors were getting around 15 to 25% of the roles according to an AAPAC study. After Hamilton, all the way up until today, that number has jumped by over 10%. Estimates now range from 35 to 40% of paid actors being previously underrepresented groups. This impact, of course, was not led by Hamilton alone. Shows like The Color Purple and Memphis, which both had predominantly black casts, helped start this evolution. Plus, another Lin-Manuel Miranda musical, In the Heights, was another stab at changing the racial paradigm of the theater industry. Hamilton, however, had one big difference that stood out when it comes to representation. This is a story about white people. The idea of race-swapping our founding fathers and their peers is far-fetched, to say the least. It was something that was rarely attempted in the industry, but the payoff in Hamilton's case was immense.
It honored the story of America and our founding fathers, but it did it in a reimagined way. It was so creative, such a diverse cast, so modern. It really made me think about what America should be and could be, the values and the diversity.
The musical brought a modern quality to our nation's birth, showing not just where we came from, but how far we've came. It did this in a way that somehow feels even more meta than the last song of the show. In Lin's words, this is a story about America then, told by America now. Hamilton's equal opportunity impact was not just in casting a wide net for their actors. It was also doing so for the audience. By first premiering at the Public Theater, a place which was named with the intention for the general public to get to see performance art, Hamilton was trying to appeal to more people than just the upper class. Unfortunately, this was deemed impossible as the show's popularity grew. In the first year, the show had already been seen by notable figures like the Clintons, Beyonce, Madonna, Ethan Hawke, and countless other big names. With that in mind, you can easily believe a ticket for Hamilton at the public during this time was not cheap. By the time it moved out, an average ticket cost was up to around $250. This number would only grow. Around this time is when many people started to learn about Ham for Ham. To promote accessibility, Lynn started up an in-person lottery queue. Fans would line up outside the Richard Rodgers Theater with a limited number of 10 tickets for that day's performance. While people waited to see if they'd won those 10, cast members would often put on mini shows for the people in line. This in-person event eventually moved online due to demand, but it really showed off what was the beginnings of Hamilton mania. This show was affecting people on a level unlike many others, and that's where I enter the picture. Or should I say, enter me, in parentheses. Like many, when it comes to Hamilton, I was not your normal target audience for Broadway shows. I'd been around performance art for most of my life, but never really opened up to that side until I heard about this rap musical. I was still a while out from being able to listen to it in full due to its explicit nature, but my parents' rules led to me consuming what I could and yearning for more. I started with the only 2 songs that my mom had pre-approved, My Shot and Aaron Burr. I love both these songs so much that I created a playlist that had these 2 songs one after the other over and over again. For me, just like the society I was living in, Hamilton was starting to take root. As my mom approved more and more songs, I eventually got to hear the whole album, and holy shit, it moved me unlike anything I'd ever heard before. I can specifically recall when I first heard Angelica Schuyler rapping, pacing around my house, playing the same 30 seconds over and over again. As I made my way through the rest of the album, Hamilton became the soundtrack to my life. Bus rides spent mouthing along to the lyrics. Me and my sister performing the whole first act for our grandparents. Playing the music out loud in my 6th grade English class as one of our book club rules. Hamilton was an ever-growing influence, an art form that I still couldn't grasp fully. All I knew is that I loved the music, and it wasn't just me.
And I can listen to the whole thing, and every song, every lyric, and when I get to the end, I want to hear it all over again.
I loved Hamilton because it did something completely new. I mean, the first time I heard "Get Your Right Hand Man Back," I was hooked. And for my family, it became like a soundtrack for a year or two. We sang the songs constantly on car trips, word for word, front to back.
Hamilton was just so unbelievable to me. It was rap and hip hop, the things I loved, mixed in with Broadway. It was groundbreaking, really.
And the music will spin throughout my mind and bring me back to that moment of sitting on the edge of my seat next to my beautiful family.
All of a sudden, my family had something that we could all relate to. Hamilton was a piece of art that appealed to completely different types of people. It reached much further than just my family. The show brought new people into the world of theater and showed to so many completely different humans that we can come together to hear the story of our history. It was something that felt like less of a moment, but a movement. Hamilton Mania was now at large.
This musical, the whole soundtrack, the experience of seeing it live was such an important thing. My sister bugged me to see it after she had had this amazing time seeing it.
We came to this show through a snowstorm that we should not have made it. It was crazy weather, and we were with our family, and it was absolutely magical. We sat on the edge of our seats the entire time, and were just thrilled to be there.
Experiencing Hamilton in person is something I will never forget. Although it was not the original cast, sitting there in the audience, biting my lip to not sing along, and seeing the visuals for the very first time, all of this brought a whole new weight. I didn't know that Lawrence died, or that Lafayette would be jumping off tables while rapping. I definitely didn't know that Eliza was the one beatboxing in the background of Philip's rap number. To feel like I was watching something completely new, although I could sing every song, made the experience something I will never forget. It's not surprising that Disney wanted to capture that same feeling. In 2020, Disney had won the bidding war and released the Hamilton Pro Shot version on Disney+. Filmed with the original cast, this version brought back some Hamilton hype, but ended up bringing some new problems along with it. Starting with the editing, the Hamilton Pro Shot made some choices. Choices that I think my sister covered very well on our podcast.
For whatever reason, in this Pro Shot, they do a lot of up close and fast cuts.
Yep.
If you know anything about Hamilton, all of the choreography of like the ensemble that's happening around gives so much to the storytelling. It's so important for the story, so when we are not seeing the entire stage, we're missing so many things.
Whether you agree or disagree with the way it was shot, you can't ignore the fact that a filmed version being this readily available completely changed the way this show is consumed. You had COVID not allowing anything but an individual at-home experience for now, plus you have Disney now controlling the IP, so no more F-bombs or marketing techniques with a personal touch. The Pro Shot was made with the intention to bring in new viewership, but because it was too intensely edited for a theater junkie to love it, and not nearly the movie version that your casual viewership would respond to, it was only able to scratch half an itch for either type of viewer, unless that viewer was me. I am the perfect hybrid that this Pro Shot was made for. I didn't focus on any of what might be considered bad from the theater side. I loved the close-ups showing off the acting. I loved seeing the way that they presented certain visuals. And more than anything, I loved that I could watch it anytime. The accessibility was now easier than ever. Although, of course, it could never stand up to watching it live. On that front, the Disney-led experience was missing one major thing. A thing that just last week, it was able to add. Getting to watch the Pro Shot version of Hamilton at my local theater is something that I will always remember. It was the closest thing I'd ever get to seeing it on a cool evening in 2015. Being there in the dark, listening to a story, clapping along with an audience, the people there with me made all the difference. I cried more than 4 times watching it last week. It was the same music I'd heard countless times, the same visuals I'd seen on the TV in my house, this time affecting me more so than ever before. As I sat down in the car to discuss the film with my sister on the pod, I started to realize what made this show so special. It wasn't the fact that it was rap, or the genius of the lyricism. It wasn't the acting prowess or vocals all showed off with rigid choreography. The real reason that Hamilton is so special is because of the conversation that comes with it. Hamilton brought people so close together because it came out of the theater with you. It left people talking for days, months, years about the art they just witnessed, and that brought so much more with it. It propelled people to look into our history, causing topics of government and politics to be talked about around any dinner table. It allowed new conversations about musical theater to take place. Whether it's fueling the dream of you getting on Broadway despite your skin color, or a young person realizing that theater is in fact cool and wanting to be a part of it. The countless talking points that this show brought to the forefront seem to never end.
So I do think it needs to live on, only because Alexander Hamilton is a little bit of a forgotten figure, I think, in our history.
I think this needs to go on. I think more and more people and families and couples should experience this because it is something like you have never seen, probably ever, and I love it.
There's a new perspective. I'm sure it encouraged people who might never care about the American Revolution to pay attention to these real historical events and people. I mean, I Googled Hercules Mulligan to see what that dude was all about.
Not only that, but its place in theater history for its score, casting, choreography, and awards is something that will inform the next generation of theater makers. Even though its legacy is imperfect, the fact that it gives us so much to talk about is part of what makes Hamilton important.
As you can see from my family, this show from 2015 is still giving us things to talk about today. Now, 10 years later, it's 2025, a time where the world might feel more split than ever. We write off each other over ideas. We kill each other over words. This is not the America that was envisioned for us. Our history can come from dark places at times, but the important part is being able to look back and grow together. Hamilton gives us the opportunity to experience our own history and remind us that we are all different, but come from the same place. Art like this shows us that even when you feel like no one understands you, there is always something in us that is shared by others. A dream of a better world, a better house, a better mind, a push to be happy, to come together with your peers, to be heard. Let Hamilton help us realize that the world is wide enough for everyone to have their own view. So keep talking, keep dreaming, keep moving to strive for more. Lynn showed us how that can be done on stage. Let's take the mindset to our own lives. At the very least, the next time you're sitting around wondering what to talk about with somebody next to you, bring up this show, bring up Hamilton. Feel for yourself the state of warmth and camaraderie that comes from a poignant piece of art. All from a fucking rap musical about our founding fathers. And with that, thank you for watching, Edith. Specifically you, Edith. And of course, to everyone else who watched this one, thank you. Third thank you, as well, to all my family members who helped me out with this video. I really appreciated it, and just getting to see your viewpoints and the way that this show has affected you, it meant a lot to me. I mean, it was powerful. You are people who I don't talk to as much as I should, and just getting to see your beautiful faces and hear your beautiful words, all relating to something that I love too. It's just, this is a video that I really will never forget, and I appreciate you helping me with it. But yeah, I had so much fun making this video, although maybe it doesn't look like it right now. I swear I wasn't just crying the whole time. It was great. I should do a fresh out the film shout out, because we will be we already have seen Hamilton in theaters. That episode will be coming out soon, but I won't. But yeah, there's a lot more that I want to say, but no time to do it. So, deuces.
He's constantly confusing, confounding the British henchmen. Everyone give it up for America's favorite fighting Frenchman. I'm taking this horse by the reins, making red coats weather with blood stains. And I'm never gonna stop until I make them drop, burn them up and scatter the remains down. Watch me engaging them, escaping them, and raging them out. I go to France for more fun. I come back with more guns and ships, and so their balance shifts. We rendezvous with Rochambeau.